So one of my 8th grade graduates gave me this gift. They know I like coffee, and I always drink coffee on the show, so they gave me this Catholic coffee, which is pretty interesting. So I thought I would give it a try. I brewed some and get to try for the first time live on air. So, ooh, hallelujah! I'm seeing spots. Welcome to Rumble Book Club. I'm your host, Michael Hernandez, and this is the show where a normal guy like me can talk about interesting books I've read, old and new, good and bad. So if you like the show, you like the content, you like the books that I talk about, or maybe you're digging some Catholic coffee too, you've come to the right place, my friend. You can follow us on Twitter, Getter, TikTok, and Parler, or you can subscribe right down below on YouTube and Rumble. But more importantly, be a part of the conversation. Share these videos with your friends. Let me know what you think. Donate to the show. Let me know if there's any books you want me to read. For instance, I had like 3 or 4 requests to read Colleen Hoover, and I got several recommendations for It Ends With Us, so I'm actually going to give it a try. I actually start reading it today, so pretty excited. But you're all a part of this show. You're all a part of this community, and I want everyone to join in. Today we take a look at a classic that is read in a lot of high schools, but I know in a lot of places it isn't. For instance, it wasn't part of my high school experience, but I'm very excited to share it with you. Today we're going to take a look at The Old Man and the Sea by the man, the myth, the legend, Ernest Hemingway. Hemingway's masterpiece was published in 1952 and was instantly recognized for its simple beauty, powerful storytelling, and also its depiction of, true and raw masculinity in a very healthy, uplifting way. Now let's start with the aesthetics. Not very important for the classics because they're always printed in so many different forms, but I have here an old Collier Books copy, and it's very simple, tasteful, nothing really standing out, good or bad. So as far as the aesthetics go, good score, 7 out of 10. So let's look at the readability. Hemingway was known for his very raw style of telling a story with no embellishment and allowing the facts of the setting and the actions of the characters to tell more about the story than his own narration. This book in particular moves very quickly and has quite a bit of action for a story that essentially centers on just an old man and a big fish in a small, tight-sized boat. So as far as the readability goes, perfect score, 10 out of 10. God, this stuff is good. Man, thank you. Now let's look at the content. In Hemingway's classic tale, an old Cuban fisherman is ridiculed by the other town fishermen who are much younger and less experienced for his own peculiar practices. They shake their head at how far out he goes, and they believe his failures with age are part of the reason why he has gone so many days without much of a catch. As the story begins, he's gone, I believe, 84 days without catching anything, which is a significant amount of time. The only one in the town who seems to hold any fondness for the old man is a boy whose name is Manolin, who served on his boat for much of that 84 days until his family forced him to leave the old man and join what they believed was a more lucky boat or a more successful boat. However, the boy continues to help the old man by cooking meals for him, giving him supplies and bait, and the simple kindness of listening to him and acquiring the wisdom that the old man is very fond of giving. The old fisherman decides one morning to strike out further than he's really ever gone in search of a worthy marlin and gets a bite from an enormous fish of absolutely incredible power. The marlin pulls the skiff further and further out to sea for 3 days, forcing the old man to fight continuously to haul him in very slowly as both man and beast kind of lock themselves into this battle of brute strength, wits, and to some degree even fate. The fate of the fish versus the fate of the fisherman. The old man has to rely on very creative methods to keep pressure on the line without breaking it, marking his location as he drifts further and further away from home, because after a while he completely loses sight of the island. He has to rely on his creativity to get nutrients and water essentially with one hand, because the other hand is keeping pressure on that line, allowing it to ease without being completely severed. And then he also has to constantly occupy his mind while in excruciating pain from his back and shoulders, because the line is wrapped. He's got one hand guiding it, but it's also wrapped. He's leaning his back against it, and as an old man, he's already frail. So he was what was once a very young, strong, and virile young man, and he goes through his memories of former feats of strength, such as an arm wrestling battle where he was locked in for hours and hours and hours at a bar until he finally won and was triumphant, and fishing off the coast of Africa. He has all these stories about how he had dominated as a man over nature. And here he is locked in what we believe is this final battle as an old man where his strength is almost given away. And it's very heroic and very, again, has that tone of masculinity that's very common for Hemingway's style. It really shows Hemingway's extensive knowledge of the sea and marine life that you can find off the Gulf Stream. And once again, underscoring that non-toxic masculinity, that belief of man to want to conquer something, to want to have a show of force. And I believe today's age would really do well to read this book to see a healthy outlet for man's need to have victory in one form or another, even those occasional victories over nature. Now, Hemingway also does tie in a little bit of the tragic fate of this fish. So after he's able to conquer the fish, he lashes it to his boat, and then he's literally got a 3-day journey back home. And as he's trying to bring the spoils of war, the spoils of his victory back home, he has to constantly battle sharks that smell the blood from the marlin. And you see this newfound intimate relationship between man and beast, where he's actually trying to protect the integrity of this animal whose life he took by beating away the sharks and trying to kill off several sharks as they try to rip apart this marlin. By the time he gets home, he realizes all the beautiful fruits of his labor, his victory, have been stripped away by the sharks, because by the end of it, he couldn't fight all of them away, so it's essentially a skeleton. He goes up to his room, up to his little shack to go to sleep, where all the fishermen who had doubted him are gathering around, and they're seeing this enormous skeleton tethered to his boat, and it essentially validates his wisdom of going out far in search of a powerful marlin to hunt. So there's a lot of talk about masculinity, wisdom, man versus beast, and I think it is a very emblematic story of the traditional male hero. So I got this book. This was actually a hand-me-down from family, but there's literally not a bookstore in America you can go where you can't find The Old Man and the Sea, a classic by Hemingway. So go to any bookstore or Amazon if for some reason you don't live anywhere near a bookstore. But again, the book is The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. Go out and get yourself a copy. Thanks for watching, everybody, and go read something.